And coming up next, Dr. Steve Charlap, a brilliant South Florida surgeon who made a fortune in business and is now giving back by opening an innovative healthcare clinic in Delray Beach called MDPrevent. Business Report producer David Weir asked Dr. Charlap about his new medical venture.
So MDPrevent was born out of some previous experience I had. In 1989, I founded an organization called Health Drive, which grew to be the largest provider of medical and dental services to the extended care industry. And over that 19-plus year history, we took care of some 5 million people.
Wow.
And witnessed firsthand what happens to people when they don't take care of their health. They develop chronic diseases. Those chronic diseases become debilitating. They end up needing to be institutionalized. And
that's very costly.
Extremely costly, and it's a very tough way to end your life.
Yeah.
You become dependent on strangers, and after having done that for a long time with a philosophy of doing well by doing good, and thank God I did well, but the good was very difficult to measure because patients had variable life expectancies, they had chronic end-stage disease. So it was kind of frustrating because the government didn't believe in allowing you to be proactive. They only allowed you to basically treat a problem once you found it. So I sold that in 2008 and retired for a year, worst year of my life. Almost lost my mind, absolutely. All the rumors about what happens when you have nothing to do they're not rumors. And was asked to come back for a year and fix a few things in the company, and then decided in 2010 it was time to move on. And just around the same time, I discovered that, according to the Affordable Care Act, Medicare was adding some new preventive benefits, and one in particular was the annual wellness visit. This was the first time in Medicare's 46-year history that Medicare was actually going to pay a doctor to identify problems that patients might develop and do something about it before they develop.
I got you.
So I got very interested in this idea because this basically addressed my frustrations in the previous 20 years. Because now, for the first time, I could work directly with patients, I could be proactive, and the other frustration I had at Health Drive was we could never measure results because of patients' unexpected passing.
Yeah.
And so now, dealing with a younger population, we could actually figure out if what we were doing was doing any good.
Worked.
So I went around and I started talking to all the thought leaders of prevention in the United States, people like Joanne Munson at Harvard and Miriam Alexander at the American College of Preventive Medicine. And I went to visit Michael Roizen, who's a partner of Mehmet Oz at the Cleveland Clinic, and even spoke to Dean Ornish on the phone and spoke to people at Pritikin. And what I discovered that while there were some models out there on prevention, the long and short of it, there was nothing for the common man because most of the programs out there were very expensive, charging thousands of dollars, and many of them were residential programs, which meant you came and stayed there for a week or 2 or 3. They tried to clean up your life, and then they sent you and threw you back into the
same old thing.
Same old thing. Yeah. And I said, so we need a different program. And so I conceived a program after also talking to my professor, my former professor at Harvard Business School, Regina Hertzlinger, of a program that was comprehensive.
I want to step back a little.
Sure.
You also, not only do you have an MD, but you got an MBA too. So you really cover the waterfront when it comes to the medical and business side.
Well, that's absolutely true. After I graduated medical school and entered the general surgical residency, around the same time there were some big changes in the healthcare system related to these things called diagnostic related groups, and it really had thrown doctors on the kilter. And every time I scrubbed for surgery, the attending physician would complain about how these business people were making all these big changes and they really didn't understand patient care. And then I would hear the business people complain how the doctors simply weren't facing the economic realities of how medicine had changed. And I thought to myself, well, what we need is somebody that has both a perspective on patient care as well as a financial reality perspective. And so I had the MD. I decided I'd go out and get an MBA, and together I could have a big impact on the system.
I got you. Okay, so with your master's in business administration, obviously a wonderful physician, surgeon, and so forth, with really experience, and sold out a business and made a bundle, came to Florida, and is now putting all this money to very good work. What exactly did you do down in Delray?
So the decision was that we had to build a destination where people could come and essentially get a one-stop shop for emotional and physical health. So in Delray, we built a 4,500 square foot center, unlike any medical practice you've ever seen. You come in on the right side, there's a big poster of Buzz Aldrin on the moon.
Ooh, wow.
with a quote from Buzz saying how important it is to invest in your health and education. And on the left side, there's a huge TV showing the old funnies like Abbott and Costello, the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, Jack Benny, because we want this to be a place unlike any other place.
Listen, Doc, let me take a break here. I got to run some commercials, and we'll come back. We'll talk more about this wonderful healthcare center that you have personally built yourself. So stay right here, will you? And stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back with the second half of our interview with Dr. Steve Charlap, one of the top physicians in the United and businessman. Okay, so to MDPrevent, a brand new facility that you've launched down in Delray Beach at the Delray Medical Center, what exactly is it all about when you go into this wonderful facility?
So the keys to prevention are really lifestyle modification. And as we all know, change is very difficult for most people. We get into a routine, we get into habits, and we basically go through our lives complaining that we wish we could change things, we wish we had more willpower. But we've learned that willpower isn't what people think it is, and that, in fact, it can be manipulated in your favor. We've learned that people really can make constructive changes in their lives, but they need help. And that help can come in the form of a physician, a nurse practitioner, a health psychologist, a registered dietitian, an exercise physiologist. And so I went and gathered people with those credentials and brought them all together in one place. So if you're looking to talk to a health psychologist because you're dealing with some emotional issue that's interfering with your lifestyle, we have it. If you want to talk to a registered dietitian and put together a nutritional plan, we have it. But that's only the first step, because the science shows that when you learn with other people and you build that camaraderie and esprit de corps with other people, big things can happen. And so we created an interactive, dynamic, educational group facility, classrooms where people can go through different programs. For example, one of our programs is called Weigh Less, Get Way More. Okay, so obviously there's a pun in there about losing the weight, but what we figured out is what people need. But we also realize that people want certain things, and to give people what they need, you may need to give them what they want. So we basically took weight loss, which is a very hot topic. As you may know, 2/3 of the population is overweight. Half of those are obese. By 2015, we're expected to go to 40% obese. By 2030, we're expected to go to 50% obese right here in the United States. So weight is a very big problem. And so under the Weigh Less, Get Way More program, people not only will learn how to lose the weight, but the focus isn't on weight loss. It's about taking back control of your life, about understanding the mindless influences that food marketers put on us, and commercials, and music, and interactions we have with friends and relatives, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so I'm a hypothetical, I'm a patient. Do I come in there on a regular basis, or do I sign, or how does this work?
So for example, the Weigh Less, Get Way More program, I'll give you some of the specifics. So you come in initially and you are assessed by a nurse practitioner who is taking a health history from you, a questionnaire that goes into certain aspects of your lifestyle. Then based on that, she also performs a blood pressure measurement. She calculates what's called your body mass index. She takes your glucose and cholesterol through blood tests, and she figures out where are you. Then you engage in this 12-week program, 90 minutes a session for 12 weeks.
You go once a week?
Once a week for 12 weeks. During that 12-week period, we give you 3 more consultations of your choice with either the health psychologist, the registered dietitian, the nurse practitioner, or an exercise physiologist.
Okay, if you're on Medicare, Medicare picks up the tab on this, but do you accept insurance?
Well, actually, Medicare only picks up the tab on the consultation with the nurse.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't pick up the tab on the actual other consultations.
I got you. Okay, so we got that. But you do accept insurance, obviously.
We are right now signing up with a number of insurances. We have literally, as I mentioned earlier, I made my money someplace else.
Right.
For me, this is a labor of love.
Absolutely.
I've created something that is meant to change people's lives, and I have priced it in such a way that it should be virtually affordable by virtually anyone who has any type of income whatsoever.
So it's very, very reasonable, Doc.
It's a low-cost program because it is my gift back to society. I did well, and yet a lot of people continue to suffer despite my best efforts.
Yeah.
And if I can stop people from getting sick and ending up in nursing homes, then I will have provided the greatest single service that I could to a human being.
Absolutely. You know, Doc, this is a very admirable thing that you're doing. You know, when you sold your business and it came out very well, now you're paying back. And God bless you for doing that. I mean, you know, that's a pretty rare thing. But when is this? This thing just opened a couple of weeks ago, right?
Correct. We've started seeing patients already. We're getting very good feedback from the patients who have come through.
Do you get patients from referrals from other doctors or other physicians?
Yes, quite a number of doctors have begun referring patients. We have doctors actually physically walking their patients into our center because they really want to help their patients get a better handle on their lifestyles.
Well, walking into the lobby is really, you know, that's very impressive, as we've seen the picture on the screen right now. But boy, that's terrific with Buzz Aldrin standing on the moon. You know?
Right.
All right. Listen, Doctor, you got to come back in about 3 or 4 months and give us an update on what you're doing with MDPrevent down in Delray Beach. And God bless you, and thank you so much. And on behalf of South Florida's business community, I want to say we're very grateful that you're in our community and what you're doing.
Well, thank you, and I hope you'll come visit us soon.
I certainly will. All right.